Hello everyone, I keep on getting a lot of people ask me all about runes and who to equip them on. So today we're going to go through each epic hero and just kind of explain what would be the best kind of rune stats to have inside the game. Now there is, I believe, 12 different runes and pretty much comes down to mainly 3 of them that a lot of people are going for. The big one you'll hear people talking about all the time is going to be this Rune of Onslaught that's going to give the attack percentage for the main stat in it. The other one you'll hear a lot about too is going to be Rune of Defense. Obviously gives you a defense stat. And then lastly, the other one that you do hear too is going to be, if I can find it here, it's going to be the hit point one. It looks like a snake right here. Rune of Life. So that's another one too. These are kind of the main 3 that people try to go after, Onslaught being the big one because of that attack percentage. With that being said, these other ones are not useless. They're still good, and there is a couple of heroes that are specific to ones. We'll get into it once we get to them there. The other thing I want to say is, even though that Rune of Onslaught is great with that first initial attack percentage, the sub-slots, your other categories inside the game, you could always have attack percentages inside there. Say for a crit one, for example. You might have 3 attack ones. That still might be better to go than an Onslaught, depending on what things are. So just kind of know what heroes need which stats, which was what we're going to go over, and then you can decide based by which rune you need for that. So we're going to go over to the guide and just work our way from the first one and just continue on. So starting off with Benzo, a lot of his skills are going to be based around attack. So this would be one which a perfect example is going to be throw an onslaught on him, or anyone that's going to give a good amount of attack percentage. So moving on to Lilith, this is once again going to be another one that's pretty much attack based in there. There's nothing really saying, do this based by 50% of your HP. Everything's pretty much based around that attack. I think the big one right here is when attacking with HP below 35%, heal yourself by 50% of the damage dealt. So obviously higher attack, dealing more damage. Obviously Onslaught's the way to go. Now that doesn't mean we can't go and throw a crit rune on there that can be doing additional damage that way. Obviously that's going to help too. But like I said, you just kind of want to know what the stats are and then you can base around by that. Moving on to Bazam, this one is also an attack-based one too, so you could go Onslaught, but there is one skill in here that we could go for the dodge rune, and that's going to be this one right here. So the Frenzy Butchered is going to give you an attack buff when you dodge inside the game. It's going to last 1 turn, give you some energy too, but you can see if you throw a dodge rune on, there's your better chances at dodging, you're going to get an attack buff, get some energy, and it could really work well with this hero. Zagrako, once again, same thing, attack base. You can pretty much see why everybody's using Onslaught for everything. There is a skill though where you will revive at 50% HP, so you could throw an HP one on there just to kind of keep them alive for a little bit longer, but when it comes down to it, Onslaught is really the way to go. Moving on to Oleon, this is another one where a lot of the skills attack based on it, but there is one in there where you might want to go the HP one too, and that's going to be at the start of battle. Nope, not that one. When you kill an enemy, heal yourself by 40% of your max HP. So if you have a higher health, you're gonna be healing yourself more, but that might be a situation where you want to try it. But like I said, it seems like everybody just wants to really have the attack buffs inside the game. And don't worry, these aren't all going to be onslaughts that we're talking about, but a majority of them probably will be. Moving on to Nual, that's going to be kind of similar to Oleon there, where a lot of them are attack based, but the Awaken skill itself is kind of an HP based one, so you could go either way with it. Once you drop below 30%, you're going to gain a shield at 40% in this situation for your max HP. So higher the health, better the shield. So you can really kind of gauge what it is. We're not going to be able to get every single hero to have an onslaught, so that's where you can kind of figure out, okay, maybe I will throw the HP or Rune of Life on this one. So Selena is definitely one you want to throw an onslaught on because she's going to be healing 2 allies with the lowest HP by her attack times 155%. So we go with onslaught, higher attack, better healing. There is a stat in there which is, once again, when you drop below a certain HP, you'll be healing yourself based by your max HP, but I'd still try to go that onslaught just because we want to focus on healing others. So Taro's is a little different. Whenever I see a stat right here when it says when HP is below 50%, damage taken reduced by 30%. And this is where I would really like to put a defense rune on. Figure once we get below that 50%, we're going to go and be able to hold it pretty good. Even with the damage reduction, throw a defense rune on there, and it seems like a good idea to me. But as I said earlier, if you had like a penetration rune and you had a whole bunch of defense stats inside that, I'd be perfectly okay with putting that in there. And also, these are just all my personal opinions of how I'm going to do it. This is no help from the community, so use this at your own thought process. This is just the way my brain thinks and how I'm going about doing it. Right now, I'm just trying to get a rune for every single person in Legendary, and once I get the stats up, I can kind of decide where to shuffle them around. But in the meantime, I'm just putting them where I see fit. Now, Fleta, she's going to be hitting people pretty strong to begin with. So yes, an onslaught would be nice, but you might also want to even go for a crit increase on it, even accuracy or precision. I mean, anything that's really going to make her hit real well is just kind of, she's an all-around rune person, I'd probably say. Even throwing some defense on their HP, it seems like you could either try to go and hit as hard as you can, or try to keep her around as long as you can. Either way, her skill set is pretty solid, but if I had to pick one to put on her, it would be an onslaught. Ashe is going to be another one I'd like to see an onslaught on there, just because when attacking with HP below 40%, heal yourself by 80% of the damage dealt. Once again, onslaught, you could go for a crit on it. Really, it's just one of those things of you could really move these things around and kind of just see how it works. And this also goes with when you're going up and losing against heroes. If you find yourself taking a lot of magic damage, you might want to go and throw a whole bunch of magic runes on your heroes. Or at least magic resistance, I should say. Dexter is another one you're going to want to throw an onslaught on. A lot of attack-based skills which say, hey, based by Dexter's attack, do this. So that's where you want to throw that. I am throwing a precision rune on right now just because it's the only one where I have that yellow legendary skill. So that's why I'm running that. And I still think I got pretty decent stats in there. But once again, if I could, I'd slap an onslaught on. Carmen is another one that we could use an onslaught for attack, but she does also have it just before death, gain a shield equal to 55% of max HP and survive. So that might not be a bad idea to go for the Rune of Life to give that extra HP, keep her alive a little longer. Xenon is one where there's really not a lot of skills specific to needing anything like an onslaught or a Rune of Life or even a dodge, so you could pretty much put whatever you want on it, but once again, onslaught would be the ideal way to go. And that goes the same with Amanda too. Nothing incredibly crazy for her skill set. You'd probably throw an onslaught on there, but still, anything will do for her also. So Void is going to be another one for onslaught, the main thing being deal attack 109% damage to one enemy and heal all allies by 70% of the damage dealt. You could go for an onslaught on that, or you could go for a crit. And when I keep on saying crit, I'm not saying crit resistance. I'm actually talking about the Rune of Fatality here, which is going to increase the amount of times that you crit, meaning that you're going to be hitting a lot harder. So Harf is an R1 word, nothing really specific for him either. Once again, onslaught would be a good way to go, but really you could put anything on there that would really serve a good purpose on it. I mean, if you wanted to try to go for health on it, just to keep him alive a little bit longer, go for some defense, really any rune will work pretty well, but I'd still try to at least get something with some attack percentage in there. Babu, another one, onslaught, even that crit rate. Big thing with Babu is he's going to be healing himself based by damage dealt, so that's where we would go with that. Although I probably would stay away from crit resistance because that awaken skill, when hit by a critical hit, you stun the enemy attacker for one turn. So not that we necessarily want to get hit by crits, but we don't want to go out of our way where we're not really using this awaken skill at all. It is nice being able to stun the enemies. Now Sanders is one of those ones where I said there might be some ones outside the box there that we kind of go for, and Sanders is one that we typically see a lot of people go for penetration. He's going to get some already in there, at least on the awaken skill. It's not going to be the greatest once you get to 10, 11 stars, but still, throwing a penetration rune on there can really amplify this. Don't get me wrong, an onslaught will still do okay, but that's mainly what we see people use. When it comes to Tanya, this is one also that you're going to want to use a crit rate rune on it there. The fact that she's going to be throwing a crit defense or a crit weaken out there is going to make it much easier for you to get a crit on it. So figure now you go and throw a crit rate on it, it's pretty much going to be ensuring that she's going to be hitting that every single time. Now the other thing too is if you are running her, it's not a bad idea to throw a crit rate on other heroes that are inside your setup too. So keep that in mind. Never a bad way. You can adjust these things around, but like I said, this is just how I would do it. If I was running her right now, I'd probably try to slap the crit on my big heavy duty damage dealers. Galan, another one of those heroes, not really a lot of base skills that are looking for, a certain attack or HP. So you could go an onslaught on it or just put whatever you have available. Now Almond is another one where everybody thinks he's a healer. You got to throw some magic stuff on there, some HP. This one is also going to be an onslaught. All of his healing is based around his attack, so that's the way to go with him. Like I said earlier, it doesn't actually have to be an onslaught. Those subcategories, you got a bunch of those that have attack percentages, attack plus 4% or 7%. Feel free to slap that on them too. Lulu is another one you want to throw an attack rune onslaught on because she's going to be going into healing based by damage dealt and also throwing a shield on a hero based by her attack percentage. And Fiona also onslaught attack, heal the ally with the lowest HP by 250% of your attack. So you could really see how all these skills in this game, so many of them are just based around attack percentages, which is the reason why everybody's using the onslaughts. If anybody wants to count how many times I say that throughout the video, just go and put a tally in there. Let us know in the comments at the end of the video. Abala is another one that has a lot of attack-based stuff, from giving shields to healing, I believe. Let's see here. From round 2, start every round, you apply a shield to the ally with the lowest HP equal to 130% of your attack. And I think there is one for healing in there, defense. Upon attacking, heal yourself by 40% of the damage dealt. So there you go, attack, onslaught. So Delicus, not really anything in there saying attack-wise. There is one in there that says, you know, heal yourself every 5 rounds based by your max HP, so you could go a Rune of Life on that. I honestly think I'd throw a crit one on it here. The fact we got that chain, that's going to stack up. I'd really love to see this guy hit hard, so I think that's the route I'm going to go with him, but that has nothing to do with this video. That's just the way my mind is thinking. Aruro going to be another one that's going to be attack-based once again with the healing by 49% of your attack, so onslaught. Kion can be another one, onslaught, that's what I'm running on him, based by we're doing attack, going to be healing on that. It's never a bad way to go. Haru, on the other hand, is one that I would run a crit rune on. Even the allies that are in the same rune, wouldn't be a bad idea to slap it on those too if you can, but a lot of these stats are all based around crit. Even this one right here of if you get from allies in the same row, including yourself, you get 4 critical hits, you get one of those damage immunity shields. So not that a lot of people are running Peru, but still, if you are running them, this would be a good one to slap a crit on. Soul, another one, a lot of attack based stuff, a lot of burn in there, so onslaught for that one. Naru is one that uses a lot of attack-based skills, so that's definitely going to be an onslaught on there. Like I said, you got to kind of decide which ones are really using those skills that really need it, and then you can kind of figure out, okay, I definitely want to have it on this one, and then go and pick and choose what you can throw on the other ones. Telfer is one also where there's a lot of attack-based stuff in there, but there is also the healing yourself based by your max HP. So once again, you could slap Rune of Life on there if need to. Now, Lagu is going to have the healing himself every 2 turns based by the max HP, so that's one I would definitely probably run a Rune of Life on this one. So once again, just me, but that's how I would go with it. Rakan's going to have some things in there for attack base and also healing himself based by max HP, so Onslaught or Rune of HP on that one, Rune of Life, either one would pretty much be good. So Olga, on the other hand, she's going to definitely want to have a defense rune on her. Increase the defense of yourself and all allies adjacent to you by 20% of Olga's defense until round 3. So great way to throw a defense rune on and really make it where everybody's pretty tanky. Adina, there's nothing really skill-based in there that's saying, hey, you know, throw this rune on me. So you can pretty much go any way you want to with her. Once again, we can probably throw an onslaught on her. Ken, on the other hand, nothing really too base for skill-wise. He will get some dodge rate inside there, and that'll stack up. So I guess if you wanted to make him really freaking annoying, you could throw a dodge rune on it and probably have some fun with it. But other than that, I'd probably slap an onslaught. Calyx is another one that's kind of attack-based, but that one also has healing inside. I think it's like 50% of your max HP. So once again, slap a Rune of Life on that. Odelia is another one of those ones where we have the attacks-based stats, but there's also that whole defense thing of, hey, when you drop below this certain amount of hit points, your defense is going to increase. So you could go like for the healing portion, if you're focused on that, you could go an onslaught on that. Or like I said, you could go a defense room when HP is below 50%, damage taken reduced by 23%. So once you get below 50, you can really kind of just maintain your health and try to tank as much as you can. Not that she's a tank, but it does definitely help out in the situations. Milia is another one of those ones where we want to go and definitely slap a crit rune on her there. A lot of these stats are going to be based around if you make a critical hit, your crit damage is going to increase. We're going to, I think, be healing based by our crit on it here. Yep, heal yourself by 40% damage dealt. So definitely throw a crit rune on Milia. Rochelle is a lot of HP based ones for him. So Rune of Life, the fact that we're going to be throwing shields on people based by his max HP, definitely something you want to go for. Rune of Life. So like I said, just kind of use this as a guide of saying, hey, you know, I know that this one's mainly going to be an attack-based one, so I'm going to go and try to throw some attack percentages on there. Really anything that's an attack kind of benefit of it, usually you can get away with your attack. Some of them are going to be damage dealt. You can go and get away with the crits of throwing them on there. But what I would really suggest you do is go and, you know, say, hey, these are the 5 heroes I'm using. These are the runes I have. These are the subcategories. Show some pictures of people and let them help you out to say, yeah, I moved this one here, that one there, and that's probably your best way to go. But if you can, try to really stack up on the onslaughts and just try to throw that on as many heroes as possible. So if you guys do have any questions or want to know, like, hey, I'm thinking about throwing on this, or I've got this on the subcategory for it, feel free to either post it in the comments or hit me up on the Discord. Be more than happy to help you out. If you guys are looking to score big inside the Honor Arena, want to know how to get that max reward inside the game, check out this video right up over here. Thanks for watching, and remember, I pick my butt.